Right, okay, let's get into this. So, this is going to be a bit of a different video to any I usually do. So, usually, obviously, I do Foot Manager videos. I've done a couple of wrestling sort of thoughts, review videos, whatever you'd like to call them. This is going to be a transfer, I guess, roundup from a Tottenham fan perspective. What I think of our window so far, where we need to improve, what I want today, and obviously what I think we need going forwards. So I'm just going to review that. Obviously, then I plan on doing a Premier League prediction, which is a bit late, but I'll be honest, my thoughts haven't really been swayed that much so far. I thought pretty much the same at the beginning if I'd done the prediction then as I do now with most of the teams. So I don't think it's been swayed too much, so I'm looking to do that, and then I'll potentially do another transfer roundup, transfer sort of description, whatever you'd like to call it. I will do that then, and we'll see how it goes from basically that point. But let's get into it. So, the first bit of business I want to discuss, Romero. I feel like he is our most important signing so far. He hasn't really got a look in so far, and I feel like that is in large part due to other parts of the team. Last year, our biggest weakness was obviously our defence, without question. No one can say it isn't. We made so many individual errors, which cost us points, and just we weren't very organised defensively. We just kept collapsing. We were going 1-0 up, sitting back, inviting pressure onto our defence, which then led to them making more mistakes, and therefore led to more points being dropped. So I don't feel like this signing can be understated. When you look at his stats compared to other defenders in the league, Maguire, Diaz, it's quite impressive how good he was last season. And yes, I know you're going to say, oh, well, he played in the worst overall squad, so stats are going to be boosted. Yes, but he still made a lot of interceptions, a lot of challenges, a lot of strong challenges. He was still statistically a very good defender, winning Defender of the Year in that league, obviously Serie A. If you compare it per 90 minutes, it's still very impressive, and it's still very good for him. So I feel like he cannot be overstated how good he will be for us. Obviously his partnership and who he partners is going to be the biggest question. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, as he can obviously be quite an aggressive defender. Likes to, I guess, sweep up, likes to come out, it seems. So I feel like who he partners will be the biggest question. Obviously, we don't want two people who are going to come out, obviously try and win the ball in front of them, try and press too high, because obviously then we can get caught out of position, people can go in behind. There can be mistakes that can happen as a result of that, so we need to be careful who we partner him with, but I feel like his signing is going to be incredible. I feel like he is getting massively understated when it comes to other people when they're saying the signing in the window. Do I think he's the signing in the window? I think Lukaku has to be up there, but I feel like he's definitely should be in the conversation. Granted, you can say he hasn't done anything yet, neither has any of the other signings. So we can't really... Yes, at the end of the window, we could... not at the end of the window, at the end of the season, we go, yeah, okay, he wasn't signing the season, or Lukaku wasn't signing the season. But none of them have done anything yet to warrant signing of the season. So we just have to base it on how good they are, their price, what they'll bring to the team, how much you feel they can improve. And I feel like he can drastically improve us. You've seen with other centre-back signings, so Maguire to a lesser extent, but Van Dijk, the main sort of one off the top of my head, where you bring in this top-quality defender, you bring in a top-quality defender, and he not only sort of improves your defence by his performances, but he raises the levels around them. So he can be in there mopping up, he can be a great centre-back for us. Obviously, he can then sort of lead the guy next to him, Dyer, Sanchez, Rodon, whoever is next to him. He can then help them, show them how to do it. They can sort of, I guess, set an example. That could be a good president. He can set an example, and he can perhaps lead them. And then, what should happen as a result are fullbacks. I think the right-hand side was more prominent to this than the left-hand side. The left-hand side obviously did do it regularly, and done it a couple of times, where they would make mistakes and they would actually also get caught out of position a few times. So because of the poor defending in the middle with our centre-back pairings last season, what would tend to happen, and what would happen a couple of times, I'm not saying every game, I'm not saying that regular, but what would happen a couple of times is they would go inside, trying to cover from the poor defending inside, in the middle, in the box, and then someone would get out wide, no one's there to close them down, they'd get a cross in, or they would get something in, and we'd then be caught out. And I feel like if we've got a competent defender there, potentially then who can help improve the guy next to him, as a result that is going to improve the fullbacks, because they won't get caught out of position, they won't feel like they need to cut inside to help, they won't feel like they need to cover as much, so they can stay in position, we can be a lot more structured, we can be a lot more settled. So I feel like overall that will massively help us, not just in his position in one centre-back spot, but around him. So whether or not that obviously happens, we'll have to wait and see. But if he performs the way we know he can and the way he has previously, there is no reason that can't happen. So I feel like him as a signing is incredible, and it cannot be overstated how important I think he will be to us. Now, there's a couple more signings we did make, and I'll go through them now. So we obviously signed Gill. He's a good young talent, and I'm not going to say he's going to be a world beater for us now. He's not going to be top. But I feel like in the next couple of years he can improve. He can be a creative spark for us, which we do need at the minute. He could be a great creator for us, and obviously I think we should give him a couple of minutes now. Give him some minutes now. Lead him into the team next season. Potentially he could then push on. He can be our star of the Europa League conference right now, and he can massively help that team. And obviously see how he does adapt into the team, and then next season onwards in the Prem he can be a regular starter, depending on obviously other movements around him, or we can obviously have a good depth there. I feel like he's definitely a good depth option to have. Him coming off the bench, I feel a lot more confident than I would with Lamela. I love Lamela. I really appreciate him giving 110%, but in terms of, as bad as it sounds, contributing, I feel like Gill is more likely to get you an assist, get you a goal out of nowhere, or create a chance than Lamela did. Lamela was great at his pressing, he always gave 110%, and he could sometimes force a mistake, he could sometimes press them into giving the ball away. He lost it a fair few times, and he'd occasionally play a good ball. But I feel like with terms of chances created and creating opportunities for us, Gill will be able to do that on a more consistent basis. So I'm more confident with him on our bench than I was with Lamela. So I feel like that in itself is a good improvement depth-wise to have. He's not going to be a regular starter for us, but depth-wise I'm really happy with bringing in Gill. Another person I'm happy with depth-wise, Galini. Now, I've seen people say obviously he couldn't get into Atlanta last season, or he was potentially towards the end of the season he wasn't played. Maybe that's because he wanted to leave. He was their number one for a good spell, and he looks like he's going to be a good keeper. Obviously, he's still young. Obviously, keepers don't get into their prime until later on in their careers. He's still young. From the games I've seen, yes, he's not had like a world beat, a 10 out of 10 game, but he's looked good. He's looked promising. So I feel like, in terms of a number 2, I can't really ask for more right now. I feel like he's definitely a competent number 2 to have. Then obviously we'll see how he does over the longer course of the season. If he does great, he can potentially be our number 1 next season. But definitely as a number 2, as I say, depth, fantastic to have. Now, 3 other people on screen: Sessegnon, Oliver Skipp and Rodon. Now, obviously they're not technically new signings, and in terms of rating the window as a whole, I'm not going to include them in that. But I do feel like they are worth mentioning in this. So Skipp, obviously last season he went out on loan towards it. He went out on loan and had a good campaign or a good spell with Norwich. Obviously there was talk earlier in the pre-season he's come back more confident, more assured, and he's obviously now a starter for us. Before the season started, I thought he was going to be a good player for us. And I actually thought he was going to be a depth option. I thought, fantastic, we've got him now. What could happen? Højbjerg done a fantastic job shielding the defence for the first few months in the league. I was like, okay, fantastic. He then got tired because he didn't have anyone to cover for him, because he was playing pretty much every game. So he got tired. Obviously then we started to decline, started to make more mistakes. The team shift, I'm not blaming it solely I'm not blaming it entirely on him, but he definitely had a decline in performances the same time around the rest of the team, and before that, he was fantastic for us. So I thought, okay, fantastic, bring in Skip, be a depth option. He can then obviously come in for Højbjerg. Højbjerg can get the rest he needs, and obviously over the course of the season, the two of them between them will be a good shield for that defence. Hasn't worked like that. They're both actually playing at the minute, and it's going well. This is what, earlier in the call, or earlier in this video, I mentioned about the defence and improving everything around him. I feel like right now the improvements are in large part down to him. Not saying it's him individually, but the fact that we're able to play both him and Højbjerg, they're both shielding the defence. Our current midfield is doing a good job at doing that. Yes, Sanchez and Dyer have looked more assured, and yes, they have looked better than they have, but I don't feel like that's in 100% down to them. I feel like that is in large parts down to the midfield in front of them, the solid midfield we currently have protecting them. So I feel like that can't be overstated, that can't be sort of overlooked. The midfield base in front of them is currently very solid and doing a good job at protecting them. Whether or not it'll hold up over the course of the season, we wait to see, but I feel like that's doing a good job. Sessegnon. Now, another player coming back off loan. We've now got him at left back, or left wing back, depending where we want to play him, and left wing as well. So I feel like he's a good depth option to have. I'm, as a Wales fan, as someone who is Welsh, yes, I'm very happy with Davis. I know he's not a lot of people's favourites, but I like his sort of versatility, centre-back, left-back, and I feel like can be a lot better than people sort of state him to be. He's not going to be a world beater, he's not going to be a 10 out of 10, he's not going to be one of the best left-backs in the league, but he is a competent performer. But now we've got Sessegnon, who's young, he can improve. Nuno apparently likes him quite a lot. He can play on the wings, he can play at left-back, and I feel like having him come in could be very good for us. We'll obviously wait and see how he does, but I feel like him coming back as well. Now, someone here we had last season was Rodon. The reason I've put him here as a new in this sort of window, he's not a new signing, but I feel like he can be like one, because he wasn't really given that much of an opportunity last season. I don't know what it was, but seeing him for Wales, he's a different beast. He done very well in the Euros for me. I really think he did, and I think he could be, for me, the best partner for Romero. If he gets given an opportunity, we'll have to wait and see. Right now, I feel like he's not really got one because of how Dyer and Sanchez have done ahead of him. And obviously keeping three clean sheets. Obviously, can't really drop them or change them. But I feel like because he hasn't been given a chance, if he's given a chance this season, if he's given more of an opportunity, there can be an improvement there. We obviously said last year, our defence was really poor. It was. He was not given a chance. So we've now got a defender here who can defend, is a good player who we are giving more opportunities to in more games, that can be a boost as well. Even if it's not a brand new man, a brand new signing, he can be a boost for us. And I feel like he will be a boost for us. We just need to give him a chance. Mourinho started to do it. Obviously, Mourinho was then sacked. I'm not going into my thoughts on that now, but then he was left. Mason didn't play him. I feel like that may be down to inexperience. He wanted to play his friends, people he knew he could trust. He had a settled squad in mind, hence obviously Ndombele missing out as well. So I feel like he missed out there. And obviously Nuno now, He's had to, I think it's down to injury as well, because he had to withdraw from the Wales squad due to injury. But when he is back, he is ready, I feel like he can be a great player for us. Now, on to a bit of today's news. Well, last night / today, we are signing a right back. I don't know much about this guy myself. I haven't watched him a lot for Betis, but from what I've heard, he's a very competent right back, which is good for us. If we've got, obviously, Reguilon, who didn't have the best end of season last year, if he gets back to his best, we've got Emerson, who can be a competent right back, and then potentially Romero and Rodon. I'm happy with that. Granted, I still think we'll need to bring in another centre back, but I don't feel like it's realistic to say we'll do that now. I don't feel like it's realistic to say it's that urgent, because I feel like we've got other more pressing needs, but I feel like that will be a good base for us to potentially build on January next summer whenever we can. So I feel like he can be a very good signing for us. Money-wise, I don't really know about the price. Like I said, I haven't really watched him too much, but it's not my money. It's not my money, so I don't particularly care. If we can bring in him, fantastic. But obviously, we'll see how he does. Should be a good signing for us, and it's good to get a right back to something we've needed. A lot of fans have said we've needed, so I'm really happy with bringing him in. Now, my thoughts for today. I think we need still a couple more signings. Looking at this page, there's a couple of people I've put on here who we've been linked to or who I think we should go for. Now, I'll sort of go off them one by one. I'm not the best at saying his name. Aura, I think it is, from Leon. From what I've heard, what I've seen, he seems like a good player. He seems like a good player. The only thing I would say to him, which is what other people are saying, is his attitude. There's talk he's not got a good attitude. That's why they want to let him leave. I'm really unsure on him. I feel like if he plays to his best, he will be a great player for us, and he'll be something we really need. Right now, I feel like what we need and what we need today, as well as a right back, we basically need a midfielder for me. I think we need either a cam or a right wing today. I feel like we need one of the two. I'd also take a couple of other positions because I feel like we're not currently done. But I feel like they're the two we'd need to look into today. Because what I feel we need someone else who's going to contribute goal assist wise. I expect more from this season. Dele, I expect more from this season. But we are still missing the goals, the assists from Bale, Carlos. Vinicius less so than Bale, but we are still missing it. So I feel like we need someone else who can contribute attacking-wise. So I feel like we need a right wing or we need a cam. We've not replaced Eriksen, so we haven't got that creative focal point. A Bruno in this team would be incredible, or someone who can create in that middle, who can sit there and create, would be fantastic for us. But we shall see if we can get someone in. Whether or not he'll be that player, I don't know. What my ideal scenario would be, they're open to a loan. Whether or not they'll go for this, I don't know, but a loan with an option to buy. So what we can do, we can get him in, say to him, we want you in this team, but you need to work for it, and see how he does over the course of the season. If he's lazy, has attitude problems, then we don't have to buy him. But if he works hard and gets in the team and performs, then yeah, we'll get him. That's my ideal scenario for it. We've also been linked with McKennie. Now, he's not an immediate need for me. He's a great player, and I feel like he can be a great signing. I would be very happy to sign him, but he's not an immediate need. He'd be good for depth. Actually, not even for depth. He'd be a starter for us. He would take Skip's place for me. And then obviously Skip would be used for depth, which I'd be very happy with. In terms of what we need right now, I feel like we need a more attacking player first. But obviously I'd be happy to take him in today. I feel like that would potentially boost the window and be a much more well-rounded window, and it would be good for depth. Then obviously we can address the other need in January, whichever that may be. Personally, I feel like in January we will potentially need to look in January for another signing or two. A lot of people expect this to be a straightaway rebuild. We'll get it all done this window. No, it's not. It's not that straightforward. This isn't Football Manager. This isn't Football Manager. This isn't one of those times where we can just do it. We can just get rid of everyone and bring in everyone we need. This is a long-term thing, and I think it will take a couple of windows to get it all done. But I have faith in Fabio to try and, well, to get it done. It just will take some time. A lot of people reckon, yeah, we should spend 100 million this summer, but what people aren't really realising, we would have been impacted by COVID. Potentially more so than other clubs, because we've literally just built a new stadium. We also had loads of gigs, NFL deal, basically stuff booked for the stadium, which we would have lost out on. So which we could have potentially accounted for in our spending. So I feel like a lot of people are overstating that, and they will just go, oh yeah, it's alright, it's only 1 year. Okay, do you want to sacrifice spending 100 million this summer, or 150 million this summer, and then we just won't spend it all next summer? People won't like that either, because then next summer it'll be, oh, why aren't you spending? That's just an excuse. No. There needs to be some give and take here, and I feel like right now we've done good bargain hunting, but I feel like next, what we need to do, we need to potentially look to still get 1 or 2 players in, potentially someone in Jan. My ideal situation now would be to sign today a right back, Emerson, sign a midfielder, potentially a centre, preferably a centre attacking mid. I am unsure who, but I want a creative midfielder today, and then obviously in the January window, then look to sign a striker. A couple of players here we've been linked to, a couple more players. So add Traore. I think he would be a great player for us. I said earlier in the video it's not my money, and I agree to that. I agree with that. If we sign him, I will not complain, but I wouldn't. I'm not sure on the prices quoted. Personally, if we sign him, fine, it's not my money, I won't complain too much on the price, but I just don't see us spending 40, 50, 60 million on him. And based on his end product, I don't know if he's worth that money. Personally, for me, 30 million, but great deal, get him in. He will create space for Kane and Son to improve. He does do well chance creating, he just can't shoot. He can create chances for Son and Kane, they can improve their numbers, and Son, Kane and Adama Traore running at you, that is a dangerous attack. He may also improve with Son and Kane around him. They may sort of help him with his finishing. They may create more opportunities for him. You never know, but I feel like he would be a good signing for around the 30 million. I feel like we need a winger, we need someone who can contribute goal and assist wise, and we need the depth there. We need the depth in attack, which we don't currently have. Eduard is also there from Celtic. 15 million he's rumoured to be going to Palace. Why are we not in for that? He can be, and I'm not going to say backup striker, which a lot of people do, and I'm going to agree with most fans here, second striker. We need another option. Dane Scarlett is going to be superb, and I have no doubt in my mind about that. But he's not ready right now. He is not a right now player. He is a 2 years down the line, or 2 years, or like a year minimum, but I think more likely 2 or 3 years down the line player. We need a player for now to push Harry Kane, to let us rest Harry Kane. We need another option, and I even think an alternative. Eduard is apparently quite quick. He's quite a good player. Quite a quick player, obviously good little poacher there. I feel like he could be a good alternative to Kane, a good second striker, and it will be an improvement to the depth and attack, which I've said we need. Tomiyasu here. Now, I really wanted him. I thought that his versatility, how he's looked in the Olympics, what people are saying, but I thought he'd have been a great signing for us. Before we signed Emerson, I would have said he would have been a must, but I'm not 100% sure he's a must right now, but I did really want him. The other player, I'm really going to struggle with saying this name. Let me get it up. Sporting player. Right. I cannot say his name. He's from Sporting. What's the name? Joa Palhinha. Right, he's a midfielder. Again, another one I'd be happy to take, and I feel like he improves us. He will be a starter for us, and obviously he allows us to push Skip to the bench. Skip can then be a depth option, and that improves our midfield depth as a whole, but he's not a priority. My priorities today are a right back and a creative midfielder. They instantly improve our team. What my plan then going forward would be is to get a striker in Jan. Get a striker in Jan to play alongside, to play in rotation with, to play as an alternative to Kane. A second striker, that would be my priority in Jan. And then next summer, look to then sign another centre-back and then potentially another centre midfielder. While doing that, that would then give us time to also shift other dead wood. Doherty is going to be gone. Winks hopefully will potentially be gone by then. We'll have either Bergwijn would have had another season, either he'd make us not want to need another winger, or he'll improve massively and be sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Either he'd improve massively and not need us to want one, or it'd be at the point where we'd be like, okay, he's had another year, he's not been great, maybe we should look to move him on. But definitely right now, today, we need a creative midfielder, we need a right back, that should be our priorities. We've had plenty of time. Whether or not we will actually get the creative midfielder, it's yet to be seen, because we've very much fluffed about for a bit with it, but we shall see how that would go. But that's been my thoughts on the window. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you have, feel free to leave a like, leave your comments below, and goodbye.